Welcome to ISCFDC EZOpt tutorials. In this tutorial, we will learn about the basic features of EZOpt. Let's take a look at the graphic user interface. At the top left, we can see three toolbars. The File toolbar with the New Workflow, Open an Existing Workflow, and Save Workflow buttons. The Edit toolbar with the Undo, Redo, Copy, and Delete buttons, and the Play toolbar with the Scheduler, Run, and Thread Limit buttons. The main window has two tabs. The first is the Workflow window, in which we build our workflow. The second is the Analyze window, in which we analyze the data generated from running the workflow. The workflow window is divided into 5 panels by default. The workflow tree panel, containing all the nodes in the current workflow. The workflow nodes panel, containing all the nodes that can be added to the workflow. The workflow or main panel, in which we build and edit our workflow. The selected node panel, showing which nodes are connected to a selected node and if they are an input or an output for that selected node. And the Issues panel. This panel generates warnings and errors depending on the problems in the workflow. Now, let's build a small workflow to see how the panels change. Let's add an input node, a calculator node, and a constraint node and connect them. To connect nodes, we can either click and drag from one node to another, or we can right-click on the triangle or the circle symbols and select the node to which we'd like to connect. We can see the nodes that were added to the workflow tree panel. We can edit them by double-clicking on their icon or double-clicking on their name in the workflow tree panel. In the Issues panel, we can see that new errors were added. Clicking on an error will highlight the node that requires fixing. We can also group a number of nodes together to make the workflow display more compact and readable, or to easily separate between categories. By highlighting a node or group of nodes, right-clicking and selecting Group, like Inputs and Others. To edit things within a group, we go to the Workflow Tree panel and double-click on the group's name. This will change the view to the workflow inside the group. To return to the main workflow, we go to the Workflow Tree panel and double-click on the line titled Main. Ungrouping is conducted by right-clicking on the group icon and selecting Ungroup, or selecting the group icon and pressing Delete. This will return the nodes inside the group to the main workflow without changing the way they are connected. Next, let's introduce some of the nodes that are frequently used. First, let's look at the input node. The input node can be a scalar or a vector, a continuous range with real or integer values, or discrete values. It is important to note that you can't mix between the types when using a vector. All lines should be of the same type. The next node is the calculator node, used for mathematical operations like addition, multiplication, and more. This is the constraint node, With this node, we can set constraints on different values in the workflow and filter them out easily when we analyze the results. The file nodes are used to interact with inputs and outputs of external programs like Shell, MATLAB, Python, and Octave scripts. Here, for example, I'm loading an input file for a CFD analysis software. And the output file with the results of said run. The executable nodes can be used to run external programs, such as executables, scripts, command line programs, various operating system commands, and so on. This is it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching.